What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of Elite Fleet. And I'm going to do this reaction because this video was all over the YouTube streets. I was going to do a reaction to it anyway, but I just had a whole bunch of other things going on in my personal life. And plus other content I already had drummed up that I want to put out first. But I had more than one subscriber ask me, yo, I want your thoughts on this. Yo, you should do a reaction to this. And I was going to do a reaction to it anyway, so it's y'all treat. But I will say, if you're going to request for me to do a reaction to a video, make it a super thanks. Send a little super thanks and say, hey, Alex, give your opinion on this. Or, hey, Alex, can you break this down? And in this case, I was getting along to this anyway. I really was getting around to this anyway. It had to come up in my queue. But going forward, if you would like for me to make a video to a specific reaction to anything, or if you have a specific question, send a super thanks. If you send a super thanks, I'll react to whatever it is that you want me to react to. But like I said, this was coming up in the queue anyway, because the titling of the videos of this made it really interesting, because apparently Just Pearly Things came onto the Lapeef network and everyone took a snippet of this. Apparently from this point, my subscribers told me it was the 53-33 point where basically the smoke started and they said white women are submissive, black women are not. This is why white women get married. This is why black women doesn't, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So I was like, okay, let me get to this. Let me watch this and give my unbiased, raw, unfiltered truth breakdown, because we call a spade over here. We don't have any agendas, okay? I don't have an agenda to make black women look like this. I don't have an agenda to make black men look like that. We talk about everybody over here, okay? White, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, it does not matter. You can get the smoke. It don't matter if you leftover low man. It don't matter if you Ratchet, Rihanna. It don't matter if you Trailer Park Tracy. It don't matter if you refried beans, Henrietta. Everybody can get the smoke. All right. The only ones who can't get the smoke is the J word. And by J word, I don't mean Jehovah. I mean the people who read the Torah. I ain't gonna mess with them. But anyone else can get the smoke. So with that being said, y'all know I don't like to talk too much. Let's get right into this. Let's break this down and see if the white women on this panel did show why they would make better submissive wives than the black women, or if it was just more sensationalization coming from the black sector of YouTube. Let's get straight into it.
Agreeing to be exclusive with the first man who pays you a little bit of attention, ain't it? Date multiple men at a time to explore your options. Discover your desires and uncover your unique needs. You'll find more than just a man, but the right man for you. Which brings me to the topic of the night. Women should date multiple men at a time to explore their options. What I thought. So I'm going to start with Curls for Life first. Go ahead.
All right, so let me say this. You got to have the ability to be able to read the room, right? Now, I'll never tell you guys to lie. I always say keep it 100, be yourself. But you also have to have an ability to read the room, right? Like my man Jay-Z say all the time, learn how to move in a room full of vultures. So if you have women on the panel and there's men in the panel, and the men decide their question of the night is basically, do you agree women should date multiple men? You have to understand that any answer other than no is the wrong answer. Any answer other than no is the wrong answer. And you also have to realize in situations like this, because this video has been spread around across multiple channels, there's been multiple reactions to it. So you have to realize when you're on a panel, whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, or fair, you're representing your whole entire race. You're representing your whole entire gender. That's just how it works. If a white man says something on the panel, right, and there's thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people who watch that panel, whatever he said is going to be pushed out into white men. Right, wrong, or indifferent, okay? And vice versa. So you have to be very, 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 very careful with your words. Basically, what the guys are doing to the women here is going to expose who's smart and who's not. Because you put me on a panel where I see women on the panel, especially the women are hosting the panel, and they were to ask me a question like, do I believe high-value men should cheat? I'm going to say no. Now, understand, honestly, in real life, I think, oh, you're a high-value man, so you should be able to cheat when you want to, is stupid. Because if you're a high-value man, there should be no such thing as cheating. First of all, you could afford a polygamy if you're a high value man. So why not just have more than one woman so you can get some variety? Number two, most women today are either bi or they like the fake bi, or they think fake and bi is cool, or whatever the case may be. So most women in the modern era really don't have a problem having threesomes. So you could also just have the threesomes. And then on top of that, you could also just tell your woman, hey, listen, I'm going to smash a few ladies on the side. You could just pay them to shut up about it. There's so many other routes you could go if you're a high value man than to just cheat. But even deeper than that, I would realize that if I said yes to that question, I'm not only affecting myself, every single man who's in the upper echelon of men now has to answer for what I said when I sat upon this panel viewed by hundreds of thousands of people and decided to throw out there, oh yeah, if I'm a high value man, I can't cheat. Because not every woman who sees this, if she has a high value man, or every woman who cheats this, even if she doesn't, is going to look at every high value man, right, wrong, or indifferent. This is why this is important when I'm telling you guys, right, wrong, or indifferent. They're going to look at every high-value man and say, well, Alex said on that panel that got 100,000 views that you think you could da-da-da-da-da-da. And I don't want to be the face of that. I don't want to set men back. I don't want to blow men's spot up. I don't want to bring unnecessary heat to them. So besides the fact that in real life I don't agree with that, I can read the room and be smart enough to see that that's clearly a trap question, and I should give the answer that's in the best interest of my gender, which would be to say no. That way, we can't be stereotyped and heaped issues upon. Now, let's see if the women have enough sense to do that. All right. Nothing's being said. What's going on? So you know. Oh, she's on mute. Okay.
I'm muted.
That's the problem. Come on, girl. Figure it out. You're on mute. Click the button. There you go.
Sorry. I think they should, respectfully, though. Like, just because you date doesn't mean you have to sleep with people. You know what I mean? And men do it.
All right, so right off the bat, she's being disingenuous, okay? Let me tell you guys something. Is this the case every single time? No. Nothing's ever 100%, right? But we deal in what's most likely to happen. Most of the time, for a man to keep a rotation, what does he have to do? He has to spend some money. Now, every time does he have to do that? No. Sometimes women just like you so much that they'll just make themselves a part of your concubine, okay? Sometimes you lay the pipe so good or your pipe's so big, they'll make themselves part of your concubine. But a lot of the times, women already have a good pipe, dude. A lot of the times, if women like you that much, they might be your concubine for a little bit, but they're not really going to hang around. Most of the time, if a woman's hanging around with a man for an extended period of time, and that's not her man, that's not her boyfriend or her husband, it's because he's giving her money. He's leveraging the money basically to keep her and other women around. And 9 times out of 10, if a woman's dating multiple men and she's stringing them along, now understand it says dating, not dated, not went on one date. So understand what I'm saying before you push back against what I'm saying. If a woman is dating, as in extended dates, all right, as in extended periods of time with multiple different men, she's sleeping with those multiple different men. All right, everybody on that roster ain't no simp. So for you to say, well, you can be dating multiple people, but you're not necessarily, doesn't mean you're sleeping with them. Well, see, how they get away with that, they'll put 1 or 2 simps into their little dating concubine and then say, well, I'm not sleeping with these 2 guys, but you left out the other 4 guys, one of which who's blowing your back out just because he's Dirty D Rodney, one of which is blowing your back out because you've always liked him and you just hope that one day he'll finally pick you, one of who's blowing your back out for money and one of who's blowing your back out after expensive dates. It is no scenario where a woman is dating multiple men and she's not doing some type of sexual favor. Also understand when women say I'm not sleeping with him, and this is a gem. When women say I'm not sleeping with him in their head, if they're giving them a blowjob, it does not count. If they're giving them anal, it does not count. Now, I know in a lot of guys who are listening to this head, you'd be like, what kind of dumbness is that? I agree, but I'm just telling you the little tricks women do. That's another way they'll get away with it. Well, I'm not sleeping with all these men. Okay, you're sleeping with one of them. You got 2 of them on the simp route. Okay, until they figure out they're going to be there. And then you're giving 2 of them blowjobs. Or you're giving one of them blowjobs and you're letting one of them pump your butthole. Put it in the poop chute. Whatever you want to call it. And then they'll say, well, I'm not sleeping with all these guys. There's no way multiple men are continuing to keep dating women and they're not getting anything back in return. It's not going down like that. So that's a disingenuous statement from the get-go, but she's saying that because she feels like she already has to cover that up because we know that she's full of shit. But let's continue.
Men will serial date as many women and they make sure women prove who is the best before they choose you. And not to say, like, again, because I think sometimes when men hear that, they automatically think that means you got to put out. Go out on dates, get to know men, and decide if that's somebody you even see that you want to be around, because a lot of these, never mind, I'm not gonna go there.
Well, you should already establish getting to know a man, and if this is someone you want to be around before you go on a date with him. At the point you're going on a date with him, you should already have come to the conclusion, whether it be through text. I hope y'all had at least one phone call, but even if it's just through text or if it's just through one meeting where you met him at the gym or you met him at the grocery store or the club or wherever you met him, you already looked them up and down and said, okay, he's attractive. You've held one conversation with him and he seems like a genuinely good guy. So going into the date, you should pretty much already know, all right, I like this guy. As long as he doesn't do anything weird or say anything crazy, we could get going forward. What you should not be doing is going on a date when you don't know if you like this guy. You haven't established if he has a good personality or not, because at that point, it makes it look like you're basically just going on a date to be treated to something. Again, these are things that are just kind of common sense. You got to understand to read the room that you're in. But I digress. Let's let her continue.
But sometimes you can get caught up and you might put all your eggs in one basket, and then you find out a few weeks later that he's trash, that he's broke, that that's not his car, that, you know, a bunch of different other stuff. So just, you know.
Well, you would have been able to find that out through proper vetting, which as a woman, again, you should be doing. See, the thing is, you go on multiple dates with a guy. You're not going to find out in one date that that's not his car. You're not going to find out in one date if he actually has a girlfriend or a baby mother or whatever the case may be. You're not going to find that out in one date. So the situation that ends up happening, because for some reason, women nowadays don't even know how to vet. I could kind of understand it from men, but from women, it makes no sense, is you go out with this guy, you end up liking this guy, you let him bang cakes, you give him a blowjob, you let him put it in a poop troop or whatever the case may be. Then you find out he's got a girlfriend or a wife. Then you find out he has a bunch of kids. Then you find out the kid ain't his. But guess what? You already gave it to him, which is another body for you, which is a lower reputation for you. And not only that, you better hope he doesn't have any high value friends who you might actually want to get in a relationship, because if he has any elite men or high value level men in his surrounding partnerships, they're no longer going to talk to you or at least take you serious, because you just smashed the dusty boy because you didn't take the time to properly vet him. Now, again, I can understand most men, all right, they're masculine, so they just want to spread their seed. They just want to pump and dump. They don't really care about the other stuff. But as a woman who's supposed to be dating with a purpose, which is what they always say, you should be vetting all this stuff before you waste your time going out on a date, before he smooth talks you, before you end up really liking him, and before you get your cheeks bust by somebody who's not yours. This is how women end up side pieces. This is how women end up cheatees. This is why it's so easy for most men to cheat, because women kind of date white guys now. But we're going to continue.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to go to Pearl next on that one. Women should date multiple men at times to explore their options.
All right, now here comes Pearl, who's supposed to be the superstar of the show. So we got a regular Rebecca, a basic Becky over here, a plain Jane, whatever you want to call her. But let's see what she has to say, because she done came out of nowhere. It's crazy, man. Pearl's giving me fresh and fit implant vibes. Like she feels like a plant to me, because I want to hang on before I let Pearl reply. I just want to break some stuff down to you guys before, because I did a little research on Pearl, because everybody kept talking about Pearl, and I'm like, who the hell is Just Pearly Things? I never heard of this chick before. So I went to her channel. You know, I did research, which most of you guys don't do, and her oldest videos is a public interview who looks more successful. Okay, you see her and another white guy. And then she has a TikTok dating coach panel, talks dating and relationships. All you see on that panel is white people. There's one black guy, one Asian guy, okay? Who should pay on a first date debate? Again, white people, all right? A bunch of guys from Tinder competed to date me, white people. Now, all of a sudden, right, when you think, when did she blow up? Well, this is when she blew up. She started making video titles like this, okay? Whitest girl ever reacts to King Von crazy story. Whitest girl in the world reacts to Green Dot NBA Youngboy. Y'all catching the drift? Hang on, let me keep going. Whitest girl in the world reacts to Whoopty by CJ. Whitest girl in the world. Big K Breezy, whitest girl in the world, reacts to Mo 3 and Kevin Great. So in her original videos, where she is pretty much in the white sphere, let's just call a spade, okay? When she's dealing with white people, talking about white topics, she had 2.9 views, 1.1 views, 941 views, 408 views, 1.9 views. When she started inserting herself in the black culture, all right, she got 30,000 views, 47,000 views, 27,000 views, 15,000 views, 9,000 views, okay? So this is a woman who's clearly not really with black culture, because if she was, she would have just came in doing this stuff from jump, but she couldn't really fit in with the white society. So she's like, okay, let me go and be that token white girl who hangs out with the black guys. Essentially is what Pearl came off to me as when I did the research. But let's see what Pearl had to say. All right. So here comes Pearl.
That's not his car. Has that happened to you?
Oh shit. All right, so that's definitely happened to her. That's happened to her. That's happened to Siobhan. That's happened to B. Taylor, because they was up there. So that's definitely happened to her.
Is that you being funny? Or was that a genuine
No,
question?
I was just asking. I've just never heard of that.
Oh.
No, I was just asking. I've never heard of like he like picks you up in a car.
Okay.
That's not
Nah,
nice.
I mean, you can answer the question.
Oh man, she mad. Oh, her mad. Why she mad? Listen. I mean, that's nothing but intuitiveness, man. Because why would you say that of all things? Oh, you find out the car is not really his. Nah. I know it's happened to her because when I did a short one time and I told women, I was trying to help y'all women out. I was like, listen, ladies, if he says his car's in the shop, he's lying. He just doesn't have one. And I said that because with the experience I seen a lot of women, I'm not going to lie, it was particularly black women going through. Dudes just talking this big game. And because black women don't take the time to vet because they move too goddamn fast. All right, so if you're a lady watching this, the key so far is slow the hell down. But anyway, because they move so damn fast and they don't properly take the time to vet, they don't find these things out until way later, usually after they done gave up the booty. So Pearl's 100% right. This has happened to her. And I don't know why she's so mad and salty about that. I would have just laughed at it like I just did. That was funny. But, whatever the case may be, let's go forward.
I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just asking.
No, she was being shady, but so what? It's funny. Hey, man, funny is funny.
Bro. Hey, it's tonight. You can be rude as you want to be.
Oh my gosh. So wait, what was the question? No, I mean, I just feel like men look for loyalty. So if you're like dating a bunch of guys at the same time, like I think guys kind of want to be like they kind of like it when your attention is focused on them. So I don't know. I don't think it's that good to like date.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Logic is definitely kissing that white ass right now. First of all, he came in telling her she could be as rude as she want to be, which in my opinion she wasn't being rude. It was definitely shade, but it was funny. Hey, if it's funny, it's funny. But now she's saying that and he's all like, yeah, that's 100% truth. No, it's not. Listen, when a man first comes to you, a man wants to smash 9 out of 10 times, okay? And honestly, that goes both ways. I tell dudes all the time, a woman knows within the first 5 to 10 seconds of you approaching her, whether or not she could see herself sleeping with you. And that's what she's going to base whether or not she gives her number to you off of. This is why I tell you guys to do short conversations upon approach, because once she's looked at you and established, okay, he's attractive or okay, he's not. And it's the same thing on dating apps. If you're on a dating app, it's the same thing. I tell guys, set the date, get the number, get out of there, say less. And the reason that I do that is because once a woman has already established, okay, this guy's attractive, I'd like to get to know him, or he's not attractive and I'm not interested, anything you say after that is most likely going to be used to basically dequalify you versus helping you get qualified. So I'm saying that to say, men on the flip side, they come in just wanting to smash. They don't come in worried about whether or not you're loyal or any of that other crap. It's no way they would even know that. They would have to date you for an extended period of time to basically know whether or not you're being loyal. And most men in this era know that women are dating multiple men. It's not like it's hitting that most modern women are 3 and 4. It's not all, of course, but most of them are dating around. Most of them are moving like men. Okay, the chains have been taken off, both socially. We no longer socially shame women for being sexually promiscuous. No longer do we religiously shame women for being sexually promiscuous. So right now, it's more inclined for a man to assume that you're a thought and then you prove him wrong than for a man to assume that you're a loyal, loving, supporting, caring, nurturing woman and that you prove him wrong. He's usually just going to assume that you're a thought. And then the best thing you can do from there is basically show him I'm not a thought. And he goes, oh, okay, that's great. But most men don't come in looking for this super loyal and, just focused on one guy. Girl, most men come in just trying to smash. And then from that point, you can raise yourself or lower yourself on that bar, depending upon how you answer questions, how you're living your life, and how you present yourself as a woman.
Multiple people at the same time, but like if a guy's not giving you attention to the point that it's like plan A attention, I think you should probably just find a different guy to date.
Okay. All right, Siobhan, what are your thoughts about it? Women should date multiple men at a time to explore.
All right, and I want to say this. So Pearl's basically saying, hey, she's saying the right answer. She's doing what I said when we first started this stream. She's reading the room. She's like, there's a bunch of guys in here. If I say anything other than, nah, I don't think that women should date multiple men at one time, I'm going to get fried. Now, let me tell you guys something. White women are the biggest whores in America. I'm sorry, that's no cap. They are. White women are the biggest whores in America. So if you think Pearl honestly believes what she just said, you're an idiot. I'm just being honest with you guys. You're not the brightest being. You're not the brightest tool, sharpest tool, I should say, in the woodshed. Every single white woman I've been with, I smashed on the first night. I swear to you. Every single one. Now, I've only been with 3, but every single one was easy. Every single one I smashed on the first night. One I took to the pool hall, smashed her in the car. Backseat of the car. Had her butt hanging out of the car. Okay? One, I literally just met on the app and was just like, hey, basically, what's good with you? I'm trying to smash. I came at her like that because, I don't really take white women that serious in terms of dating prospects for multiple reasons I don't want to get into on this video because it would be too long on this video. But I kind of look at white women where it's like, if you're attractive and we're interested in each other, we go from there. Guess what she said? She said, okay. I went, picked her up, blew her back out. And then there was another white woman who actually came to me, basically matched with me, and she was from back in New York. At the time, I was already in Maryland. I wasn't even in New York no more. She stayed around, kept herself afloat until I went back to New York to visit. We came, we went to dinner. She paid for the dinner. She actually slurped me off not once but twice in the parking lot because she was on her period, and then we never talked again. So those are my 3 experiences with white women, and that's not even including the white woman that I smashed who had a whole damn husband on the boat. When I was on a work vacation, I met this white woman on the boat who had a whole damn husband, and I blew her back out on the work vacation. Those of you who are part of Elite Fleet, you will remember that. All right, now, people might say, well, that's anecdotal evidence, Alex. You can't say white women are the biggest sluts just because of that. Well, if you've ever been to a party in your entire life, you'll often see white women doing what? Making out with any dude who's somewhat attractive that happens to be at that same party. Now, the likelihood you're going to go to any black party and see black women just randomly making out with the men there, slim to none. I've been to plenty of Hispanic parties. The likelihood you're going to go to a Hispanic party and see Hispanic women making out with random guys at the party, slim to none. I've been to parties with predominantly Asian women. You don't really see them do that too much. Now, again, they usually kind of align with what white society does, so you'll see them do it more than black and Hispanic women, but anybody who's ever been to any type of club frequented by white women and are being honest with themselves, they know it's really not that hard. Pretty much any guy in that club, you really don't even have to be hot, can make out with any white girl. There's a term called white girl drunk. White girls get so drunk, they become the biggest sluts in the room. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you mess with a white girl you meet at the club because they're also the most likely in the country to call grape on you. They'll say you graped them in a minute. So you don't want to be accused of graping. So I wouldn't necessarily tell you to do this, but anyone who's not being disingenuous, male and female, can tell you, you go to a party and there's white women will make out with like 5 different guys at that damn party right in front of everybody's face and not give a damn. So for a white woman to sit up here and say, oh, I don't believe in dating multiple people, that's just reading the room, being smart and staying out of hot fire, which I can't really bash her for because Courage for Life didn't have enough sense to do that. Let's see what the other panelists say.
What are the options?
Hell yeah. You got to talk to more.
Now, of course, Siobhan's going to come in here and say the same thing. Now, I want you guys to understand something, okay? This is going to be another gem. Whoo, somebody's definitely got to timestamp this up for me because there's a lot of gems in this. So we've seen Courage for Life, and we've seen Siobhan come in here and basically say, yeah, you should date multiple men, all right? So far, we've only seen Pearl speak, and Pearl lied and pretended that she doesn't date multiple guys when we know that she does, okay? Or at least we're going to make the assumption that she does because most white women do. Again, reading the room. Why is it that Pearl has enough sense and even thinks to read this room and says, let me give the right answer, but Courage for Life and Real Siobhan does it? Simple. Because in white society, it's not culturally accepted for you to just come out and say that I'm a slut. Now, listen, their standard is starting to drop, just like all Western women's standards are starting to drop. Western society standards for relationships in general are starting to drop. But still, white women are still judged by, are you married? Have you ever been married? All right. And they're still judged harshly by that. Do you have a family? Do you have a husband? What's the social status of your husband? What type of family did you marry into? How are you guys living? That still matters. Now, if she goes and gets divorced later, whatever. Being a divorcee is a big deal in the white community. They're like, hey, you're a divorcee? I'm a divorcee. Who'd you divorce? A lawyer. I divorced a doctor. But you have to get married, okay? You have to get married. You have to have a family. You have to have kids. So as a result, white women are never really trying to do anything that would disqualify them from being able to get married later on. This is why white women might be the biggest sluts, but a lot of people aren't even aware of it or pay attention to it because white women don't really own being the biggest sluts. And the white women who do come out and kind of own that, they kind of cast them to the side as, well, she's an OnlyFans girl, or, well, she's a porn star. They never let those women really become the representative of white culture. The representative of a white woman is still your standard housewife or your standard feminized woman, feminist movement woman, aka high-powered woman who's a doctor, a lawyer, or a CEO or something like that. Those are two versions, I should say, of white women as you see. The standard traditional slim, size 4 dress size, long hair, housewife type. And then you have the new age feminist power couple, CEO, lawyer, doctor, business owner, entrepreneur type white women. They don't prop up OnlyFans girls. They don't prop up the twerkers. They don't prop up the strippers in that culture. Why? Because they still want to be married. Even the feminist white women generally are married or have a desire to still be married. Now, in the black community, we take women like Megan Thee Stallion, we take women like Cardi B, and we prop them up and we pop them up. And we make it so that women who are senators, women who are doctors, women who are lawyers are actually encouraged to be more like the Cardi B's and to be more like the Megan Thee Stallions and to twerk around and still degrade themselves in certain aspects of their life just so that they can fit into the culture. Now, you might say, Alex, what does all this have to do with everything? Well, to summarize everything in a nice bow, because in black culture is socially acceptable to basically be a thought box, these women don't really feel the need to lie. See, Pearl isn't even thinking about these black guys. She's thinking about what white guys might be watching this. And she's like, hey, if I say I sleep around, nobody might not want me. The black girls feel like they could just say, hey, I'm talking to multiple dudes at one time and you're still going to talk to them. Right, wrong, or indifferent, they basically don't expect black men's ability to walk away. They feel like they could come out here and say, yeah, I got you and him and him and him and him, just like a man, even though they're women, and you're still going to deal with it. Pearl knows better because Pearl knows that her man has a standard. So she cannot come out here and brag about being a thought and still expect to be treated like a lady. But black women can come out here, or at least they feel like they can come out here and say, hey, I'm a thought. And at the end of the day, the respectable, classy, submissive women that y'all claim to want would get more attention, basically not going against this or pretending that they view things like this as well than they would for saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't say stuff like that. And black men have let the ball fall so far that our women don't feel the need to even pretend not to be sluts, even though we're in 304 culture, just to appease us. They don't care. They'll tell everybody that they're moving around like a 304. So far, the only real difference between the black women and the white women is that the white woman knows better and the black woman doesn't. But let's continue.
More than one person because...
Oh, and just in case you guys missed it, I wouldn't say I'm blaming the black men, but looking at the views on these guys' faces, they're going to blame the black women for this. This is just as much the black man's fault. The white woman, listen, I don't necessarily want to use the word trained, but let's just keep it real. They know how to act in public. They know how to present themselves. They know what to say and what not to say. The black women, they don't know how to act because no one's ever required them to act this way. For all we know, they may or may not have a father in the home. Their brothers probably don't care. See, in the black community, it's not just the women who get pushed back for saying, well, why we all thoughting or why we all acting this way. The black men get pushed back for it too. We get told we're being controlling and all this other extra stuff. So we just let it dip to the point where our women will come out here and brag about having multiple guys that they're dating at one time. I also want you guys to understand she genuinely thinks this is funny because she's probably really not even dating that many guys. I can almost guarantee you the white women up here are probably dating more guys than she is. But she thinks it's funny because, again, it's culturally acceptable for black women to joke about being a thought even if they're not being thoughts. This is why I said this is a gem to you guys. Even the lawyers, even the doctors in the black community, what they will do is they will joke about being a thought, or they will twerk around or act like they agree with thought behavior, even if they don't, because they want to fit in, because this is what we've allowed to become the norm in society. But let's continue. At least online, I should say.
If you don't, okay? Especially, well, I guess it depends what age too. So if you're like younger, of course we're gonna talk to multiple people. Like you just have to. Like we're in an age where people like serial date. Okay, we are like have some fun. You know, maybe you can have somebody that.
No, again, she's not lying, but she's looking for support. No one's going to support you but the black women because the white women know better. And this is why I said a portion of this black men have to take responsibility for. Because the white women know better than the black men, what black women don't. That means the black men aren't setting the standard that this type of behavior being talked about out in public is not okay. Trust me when I tell you, any white dude watching this video right now is not going to disagree with anything I said about how white women move. Because they know it. But they know their women are smart enough not to say it, to hide it, to keep it behind the scenes. Black women just bold with it. That's why she's looking around like, right, girls? And see, now that these two have read the room, they realize, oh, we done messed up. It's too late for her. She could have came in and saved it, but she didn't. But they've already messed up. But let's continue.
You know, laying down with, and another one to like take you out, and then another one to do this, and
oh my God! Like, now this girl, it's almost like she's a paid operative at this point. Did they plan her in this channel? Who is this? Does she have a channel? Because for her to come out here and say, oh, you have one guy that takes you out on dates, and then you have like the one guy who's like just for fun. And we all know women have different guys for different things, right? But the fact that she thinks that this is the place to say that, the fact that she's even okay confirming that in this environment, it all goes back, guys, to what I said. White women know better. Black women don't. And that says just as much about us as a whole as black men as it does about the women. Because why are women this okay? She would not say something like this. I don't even know what she is. She might be Hispanic or something. I'm not sure, but I'm willing to guess she won't say something like this. She won't say something like this. Not because they don't do it, but just because they have enough sense to say, if I say these things out loud and I'm just all okay with this stuff, I'm not going to get them in. She's bold because she feels like, oh, come on, what are you going to do? This says a lot about black men, just as much as it does about black women, because why are they this comfortable? But let's continue.
Different, like even our friends, we have friends that are like that. You can only go to the club with this person, or you know, this and that. Like it's the same thing.
Okay, Coach K, what are your thoughts?
I don't think, I mean, what are the definitions? You know what I mean? I think if you're talking and then you find interest in someone that you want to.
And she goes, what are the definitions? She knows what the definitions is. Listen, in 2022, if you say that you're dating, all right, again, dating, as in you're going on multiple dates, people are going to make the assumption that y'all smash it. So don't say, oh, well, what are we defining this as? That's semantics.
Court or date or whatever. I think you should do it one at a time because our brains aren't supposed to
Then look at him up here again. Yep, you should do it one at a time. Now, again, same thing. You see what I'm telling you guys? Without even watching it, you see what I'm telling you? The white women know better. That's the only difference. They know she's not going to come out here and say, oh, I think you should be dealing with multiple guys and have one guy who's just for fun and have one guy who pays for dates and have the one guy who gives you the drugs or whatever the case may be. Because she knows if she says that, she's going to get pandered as a slut. Or pinned as a slut, I should say. She's going to be looked at as a slut, basically, if she says that. So she's not going to say that. The black women feel like they can say that, and then it's like, oh, what's going to happen to me? That's why they're saying it.
Multitask, because it's like you're giving a little bit of attention to all these different guys, and then in essence, they're not getting your full attention, and then it's not going to work. You're kind of like setting yourself up for failure, I think. I think you should do it one at a time, you know, get clear, get focused. And then if it doesn't work, then you know right out the gate versus prolonging it when you would have known this from the start if you had focused on him and him only. So that's what I got.
So let me say this. She's 100% right when she's like, it's going to be very hard to find a man if you're entertaining multiple men at one time. Essentially what Coach K is saying is you can't date with a purpose and be in your whole phase at the same time. Now, again, women in 2022 do this all the time, but she's saying all the right things. The problem is the black women on this panel are speaking from being in the whole phase, and then eventually some guy comes along who seems great to pull her out of the whole phase. And that's not how you appropriately date. If you're going to do a whole phase, just have a whole phase. Have your whole phase, and then when you're ready to get serious, Coach K's 100% right. You focus on one man at a time. Multiple men are going to come to you always because you're a woman. You pick the man who seems the best, seems the nicest, looks the nicest, presents himself the nicest, has the best earning potential, whatever the case may be. You lock in with that man. If he does something stupid, you scrap and you start over. But you don't want to have 3 different dudes you're entertaining at one time if you're expecting to lock any of them down. But the problem is black women don't understand competing for men. No one's ever taught them that. So in their head, they're in like this permanent hoe phase, and they're basically waiting for a guy to come in and essentially be like, okay, you're the one. And then she stops hoeing. Which is backwards thinking, but whatever the case may be.
All right, B. Taylor, what are your thoughts? Women should date multiple men at a time to explore their options.
So I've been in both situations. When I started dating, I would date one at a time, and I realized that didn't work for me personally because I get attached and I wear my heart on my sleeve. So
now look at the way the black girls are shaking their heads. Now, we're going to get into another thing, but I'm going to wait before we get into that.
I would get very upset if the guy didn't take me serious, or I found out he was talking to somebody else and I wasn't. I would feel some type of way. So to protect myself, to tell other women that are like me, I say it's okay to date other men. Now, you're going to have a roster. I think it's safe to have a roster.
Oh, my Lord. Shorty said have a roster. Jesus Christ. You talk about not being able to read the room. First of all, ladies, let me explain something to you, because I know a lot of y'all probably don't watch sports. Y'all like to use the words you hear men use it because you think it sounds cool. You have any idea how many people are on the roster? A roster consists of 15 players. A roster consists of 15 players. I repeat, a roster consists of 15 players. So for this woman to sit here and say, I think you should have a roster, essentially means that she thinks every woman should be dealing with 15 men to 12 men, 15 to 12 men at one time. This is what happens when you're trying to be like a man and you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. Now, I say to you guys all the time, you can't pair bond. Really, it's after 3. I'm nice. I'm a realist. I honestly believe that most women can still pair bond to you sexually as long as they don't hit double digits. This woman says every woman should have a roster. Even if you're not sleeping with everyone on a roster, if you have a roster and someone falls off and you replace them and someone falls off and you replace them and someone falls off and you replace them, you honestly want me to believe you're going to make it to your upper 20s or your early 30s and you don't have well over double-digit body count? Stop it. Stop it. So pair bonding is dead, which, again, as I've also stated before in the past, it's going to be dead for 95% of modern women, irregardless of what race they are or what country they're from. Before y'all start that shit, you go overseas and I'm gonna leave the passport bones alone today. All right. So pair bonding isn't really the way I actually recommend for most men to attach themselves to women. I usually recommend for men to attach themselves to women in 2 different ways. One, their masculinity. That's the most important thing. All right. So what do I mean by that? That's your personality. Okay. Your leadership. All right. Your ability to fix things, your ability to build things, your ability to provide solutions, your ability to teach them something. All right. All that falls into your masculinity. All right. Your physicality, in my opinion, is a part of your masculinity, because as men, we're supposed to be like unfiltered gorillas. We're supposed to be like grizzly bears out in these streets. All that goes into your masculinity. And then I say, in combination with your masculinity, again, the wealth, accumulation of wealth, having a kingdom you can move her into, making it a safe space for the rest of her femininity, because she can feel like you're responsible and you've got this. You've been earning a certain amount for a certain amount of time. All your bills is paid. You got your own car, your own place. You know what I'm saying? A solid, stable career, not a job. All these other extra things. So financially providing the masculinity. I don't think you should rely on sex, because most of these girls done had their back blown out so many times and done been bend it, twisted, flipped it, and bopped it so many ways that just ain't gonna work. Not to mention they damn toys. These women got all types of toys that spin around in the V-box and all vibrate at 1,000 frequencies and all this stuff. You ain't going to be able to do that. Masculinity and your financial stature is what I usually recommend. So it's not even that the pair bonding is a big deal, but I just want to point out to you guys, after 3, you're not supposed to be able to pair bond. I give it the double digits. She said a roster. A roster is 15 people. That's crazy.
You're always going to have your favorite, you know, and that's the one that you give the most attention to and take serious, while the other ones, you kind of got them on standby, kind of texting them from time to time, especially when you're like by yourself and he tripping a little bit or something. You texting your other roster of men, you know.
Oh, my Lord. I want y'all to understand. Look at their faces. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at their faces. Because this is read the room. They're embarrassed, as they should be, because like I said, this is black men's fault too. And we somehow created a situation where black women have no shame saying these types of things on the internet. We cannot absolve ourselves from blame for this, all right? Now, I would never date a woman who would say these things. I could look at Curse for Life, Siobhan, and B. Taylor and already tell what they are without even talking to them before they even open their mouth, especially this one right here. You gotta know this is an ultra thought. I don't even mean that in an offensive way. I mean, do your thing, sweetie, but it just is what it is. I mean, come on. Everything about her screams ultra thought. Y'all gotta be able to really read the rooms, all right? But this is screaming embarrassment as it should. All right, all these guys are embarrassed. These three women are looking like you guys are idiots because you're basically confirming your wholeness. You're supposed to leave your wholeness in the air. A man's never really supposed to know you're a whore. This is why when you ask women their body count, they never really give you a real answer. It's a pointless question, it's supposed to be. And you ask a black woman your body count, and they'll almost always give you a double-digit answer. Why? Because they think, well, it's normal for everyone to have slept with a double-digit amount of people, right? Which, again, is true, but it's like, why would you go out on a public platform and say these things? You have to be able to read the room. You have to realize everything can't be necessarily said out loud.
You're distracted. And you know, let the best man win, because when your favorite team player is not playing right, you kick him to the curb and upgrade somebody else.
What?
I like you, girl. I like you. You took
But
it.
if men look for
Oh my gosh.
If men look for loyalty, why would...
Now, here she comes with... Now, listen, before we even get into her and what she's about to say, I do want to say this really quick. B. Taylor also said something really important, which is, well, every time I've tried to lock in one man, I've been hurt, or I've been played, or whatever the case may be. So now I figure I'm going to just do my thing so that way I got many options too. Number one, all right, here's something else that white women know that black women doesn't seem to have figured out. Most men are going to cheat. Do all men cheat? No, most men are going to cheat. Most men are going to deal with multiple women up until the point where you're probably up until the point you get married. Definitely up until the point you get in a relationship. Most of the time, not all the time. So all white woman cares about, all right, I'm not saying she does not care about getting cheated on. I'm just telling you guys the mindset difference. A white woman is focused on being number one until she gets that ring. This is why I said being a divorcee is actually a status symbol in the white community, because it doesn't matter. They probably figured your man might have cheated on you or he may have done anything, but you got the ring, which means you get alimony, which means you get child support. So white women know how to play their role until they get to that point. I've done numerous videos. Somebody timestamp this for me too. I've done numerous videos where I have told you guys it's easier to vet black women than white women, because white women will sit their asses there for 3, 5, 10 years and play a role until they get that ring and then change up on you. You make a black woman wait 3 and she gonna tell you who she is. Black women are not trained. They don't think to be something that they're not to get a means to the end. They're not gonna do it. And every time they try to be submissive or nurturing and caring, their friends and stuff are going to pick on them about it. So they're going to blow themselves up and reveal to you what they are or who they are. Literally. I shit you guys not. Literally in 3 years. It probably won't even take that long. That's the max. You don't even know what you're dealing with a white woman for 3 years. Some secrets might fall out of the closet just because of the amount of time. But on a personal level, you still don't really know who you're dealing with white women in 3 years. You never really know what you're dealing with white women until you marry them. Black women, you already know what you're dealing with. It's just most black men are goofy and marry a woman thinking she's going to act more right when they marry them. Don't ask me why they do that, because it's the dumbest shit in the world. But a lot of them do. And that ain't going to happen. All right? All 3 of these girls up here, you know who they are. Tell me I'm lying. They're telling you who they are right now. And you can accept it or you cannot. You don't know who Pearl is. Pearl's full of shit. Some people, you don't know Pearl, Alex. I'm telling you right now, Pearl's full of shit. And the fact that most of y'all in this sphere can't realize that, that's why most of y'all asses is on child support. That's why most of y'all asses is on alimony. Pearl is full of shit. Coach K isn't full of as much shit as Pearl is, because you read between the lines of what Coach K says. She basically said, hey, listen, when you're dating, I'm looking for an actual relationship, so I'm not going to act like I'm in my whole phase. She didn't really necessarily deny it, but she didn't own it either. She was very smart with her words. I actually liked the way she said it. The girl Carmen hasn't said anything yet, which is probably the smartest thing, to just shut the hell up if no one says anything to you. But they all mentioned being cheated on, and that's what caused them to act a certain way. If you're a woman, you're going to get cheated on. That's just pretty much how it goes, okay? Being a woman and not getting cheated on would be like being a man and not getting used. If you're a man, you're going to get used. You got to understand that. Certain things just come with life. If you're a man, you're going to get used at some point in your life by some woman. If you're a woman, you're going to get cheated on. Now, what's the difference between the people who win in relationships and marriage and the people who lose? Well, the people who win accept, hey, man, I can do my best job vetting and all that crap, but I'll probably get played once or twice. But they don't allow those situations to permanently jade them from the relationship market. The men and women who lose, they get cheated on or they get used once or twice, and they allow that experience to completely jade all their experiences they have going forward, and they're never able to be in a functioning relationship again. Black women embrace jadedness. White women eat it until they get married. Then they divorce your ass or put a little cyanide in your food, kill you, and take your life insurance. But let's continue.
Why would he take you serious if you have a whole roster of people? If he's looking for
loyalty, then he would commit to me. But I'm not committing to anybody that I'm dating. It's kind of
like you have to show him what he's going to get.
But what's
if he's already getting that like disloyalty before he's even in a relationship.
Disloyalty? I don't owe no loyalty to no.
Now, let me say this. All right. And here goes, he's capping for the white girl again. Because I'm going to be honest with you. On this point, I actually agree with the black women. A woman doesn't owe you loyalty if you haven't committed to her in any way, shape, or form. Now, I do agree with Pearl that, well, how does he know what he's going to get? But that goes back to what I said earlier. The main thing a man wants in a woman is not loyalty. Right? Initially, he's just looking to smash. Let's call a spade a spade. But in terms of a relationship, the main things men are looking for is a woman who is submissive, nurturing, caring, okay? Fit, feminine, friendly, whatever you want to call it, and who could get on his program. So what I'm saying is, if a man's dating a woman and a woman is cooking, showing that she has cooking skills, okay? Her house is always clean, okay? She's always keeping things nipped and tidy when you come through. So she's showing she got those cooking and those cleaning and those homeliness skills, those homemaker skills with his wifely skills. In instances where you see her around nieces or nephews or cousins or any environment where there's kids, she gets along with the kids great. If you stub your toe or you get sick or you cut yourself by accident, she's right there with a Band-Aid. She nurses you back to health. All right, she shows she can understand money, as in she doesn't have a bunch of debt. She doesn't just spend money left and right like a drug dealer, like a lot of women do. She shows in what she's looking for in a man. Okay, and she shows the willingness, basically, and the ability to be a submissive, nurturing, caring woman. Okay, and like I said, she showed those motherly skills. She shows the ability to follow a program. She shows the ability to listen to what she's told. She showed that she's not financially reckless or irresponsible. She can keep a place tidy. She's very good with kids. Those are the things that'll make a man say, okay, I might want to commit to this woman. And every time I picked a woman when I was around dating, and I've said, this is one I might want to take serious, these are the things that she's done. This is why I say to you guys, by at least the third date, I'm requiring, basically, I'm going to come over to your house and we're going to have some drinks and we're going to eat and you're going to cook. Because I want to see, are you going to cook from scratch? Are you going to cook from the box? I want to see what your house looks like. I usually start pressing this by like the third date. I want to see what your house looks like. Is it neat? Is it tidy? Are you showing home decor skills? Because these are the things that are going to make me decide, do I want to keep you around and elevate you to the next phase, or do I want to get rid of you? Because if you can't even keep a clean and tidy house and you can't cook from scratch, I already know you're not going to be my woman. See, Pearl's sticking on the loyalty. Again, loyalty, the only way you really know whether or not a woman is loyal, or a man for that matter, is when you give them the title and you see how they act. You don't test loyalty during the dating phase. You don't. And that's not the number one thing that men are looking for. Because I'm telling you right now, if a woman is attractive, which we discussed prior, if a woman is attractive and she showed the ability to cook from scratch, she shows that she keeps a clean and tidy place, she's submissive, she's willing to follow his plan, she does what she's told within reason. Obviously, if you ask her to do something ridiculous, she shouldn't be doing it, but y'all know what I mean. Within reason, she does what she's told, she's good with kids, most men are going to elevate that woman, whether or not she's shown loyalty or not. As long as she hasn't got caught talking to other dudes, it really doesn't matter. So Pearl's pushing this to be an antagonist right now. And Mr. Pearly is basically backing it up to be the messy girl who essentially is egging this thing on. Essentially, he's being an instigator. But let's continue.
Man, I'm dating.
You're right. You don't owe it. It's not.
And she said the same thing because she is right. You don't owe it. You don't. And that's not what you're looking for at that phase. Loyalty does not become a factor really until you're already in a relationship. Again, unless the woman does something ridiculous before you even get to that point.
And he don't owe me loyalty.
He's not entitled to it, but I think he's more likely to give it to you if you're
No,
loyal
I'm
to
telling
it.
you, I've been in both situations, and that sounds nice. I wish that was the case, but I've been in both situations, and I got played every time, and it hurt my feelings dearly. And then when I told him that's not fair, you're talking to, he's like, we're not together. He'll hit me with that, we're not together. So until
and I gotta be honest with this, B. Taylor's not lying, especially if you're dating black men. She's 100% right. A black man will have your ass in the house. I'm owning this as a black man. He will have your ass in the house, cooking, cleaning, being submissive. You know, doing every little thing that he asked you to do, and then you catch him with another chick, you like, hey, man, you know, what the hell? Like, I thought we had an understanding here. And then he will say, well, you're not my girl, which is why I agree with her that you don't owe anyone loyalty until you're in a real relationship. That was 100% facts. Anyone telling you otherwise on either side is full of shit, right? However, that doesn't mean you come out online and say, oh, I got a roster of men. That's just stupid. That's just one thing is different than the other. No one's going to attack you, or no one should. Pearl's trying to, but she's failing here in my opinion. No one should attack you for saying I'm not going to be loyal to someone who hasn't stated me as theirs. But you will get attacked for saying you got a roster which consists of 12 to 15 people that you have in rotation for different things. So most of these guys you aren't even planning on ever taking serious. That's not the same thing. But I 100% agree with B. Taylor here when she says, I don't know loyalty to a man who's not my man. She's 100% right, because men, especially black men, will manipulate women and have women acting like they're their girlfriend and never plan on actually making them their girlfriends or marrying them. Black men will keep your ass as a girlfriend if they do say you're their girlfriend for life. We see a bunch of dudes in the man's there. Oh, I got a girlfriend, but are you married? Oh, I got a girlfriend. You've been had a girlfriend for 5-6 years. She done got 2 of your kids. You ain't married her yet. You ain't married yet. And that's what I wanted to point out earlier when I was like, all the black women made the faces when she was saying, well, I've tried that before and I've been hurt. And that's why I said black men got to take accountability for this, because a lot of black women are speaking out of bitterness because they weren't trained not to. Now, if you think these white women haven't been played like that, you're crazy. They have, but the difference is they're not going to show their bitterness until they get the ring. Once they get the ring, that's when they go Jekyll, Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll on you. Black women show you what they are from jump. They wear their emotions on their sleeves. I told you guys before, black women are like eggs. Hard on the outside, soft in the middle. See, now we're getting to that soft in the middle part, because at first they were like, yeah, I'm big pimping. I don't know what you heard about me. Now they're being all soft and almost like, yeah, I've been hurt before, heard it all before. They do that Jekyll, Hyde thing. All right? But this is what you guys got to understand. So I agree with B. Taylor about that. And black men do have to take accountability for damaging their women in that way, because they have. But black women also need to be taught how to properly handle that, because going out here bitter ain't going to leave you nothing but single. And if you already got a kid, you'll be a single mom forever. They need to learn how to have the demeanor that these white women have, where you just eat that shit, put it to the back. Now, don't bring it back up in marriage like they do. But I'm just saying, just eat it and move on, just like I would have to eat and move on if someone used me for my money. If they use me for my money, they use me for my... It is what it is. It's part of the game. Charge it to the game. Black women need to learn how to charge it to the game. But let's continue.
Man commits to me and show me that he wants to take me serious and showing me consistency. The dating world is piss poor. The dating world is piss poor out there, and it's a lot out there. So you're going to run across really messed up people that's, you know, have bad agendas. You know, they're trying to use you. They're trying to play games with you. They may have you on their roster. You don't know what you're getting until that man takes you serious and start being consistent. Then you slowly start kind of taking.
And she's spitting, but what does any of this have to do with having a roster? Just don't deal with no man until one man takes you serious enough to consistently court you and then say, you're my woman. Then just lock in on that one man. What does that have to do with having a roster? Again, she's 100% right about the loyalty talking point, but she was wrong about the roster talking point. But she's 100% right about everything else she's saying right now.
I'm serious until that man say, hey, I want to take things to the next level. You're not just somebody I'm dating anymore. I exclusively want to court you. Then that's when you, as a woman, then that's when you say, okay, I'm going to exclusively date him and take him serious until he tells me he's committed to me. There's a lot of women out here committed to men who's not committed to them. And I don't know what your situation is and how your dating world is, but I'm telling you, I've been on both sides.
Oh, crap, we got a commercial. Well, Pearl's situation in dating world is the exact same thing. Pearl's just smart enough to not say she's being a thought online. That's the only difference. But let's get back to the video now that this little ad is over. It should only ever be ads, in my opinion, at the beginning and end of videos, not in the middle. But what can I say? It's not my channel.
But don't you kind of see how serious he's?
Hold on.
See, look, now he coming in to save her. She lost here. She did. She lost here. Now, Captain Save a White Woman about to come in here. Here I come to save the day with his cape on to save this white woman. He could have saved the black woman the same way. Because if I was on this panel, I would have, one, told the black women to shut the hell up. And I would have, two, expressed that they're speaking from a place of bitterness. Because that wasn't hard to see. The white women got their poker face on. Till I get my ring, hey, man, I'm acting like it's all good. I understand, man. I love you guys. Yeah, it's these women. Watch when they get their ring how different that is. If y'all don't believe me, go to any MGTOW channel full of white men. They'll tell you what I'm saying is 100% fact. They'll tell you. You don't know what you're getting with a white woman until you give her ass the ring. But let's see what Captain Save a White Girl got to say.
Huh?
You're going to be a hoe until you get a ring.
First of all.
See, now what did he just say? You're going to be a hoe until you get a ring. What did I say earlier? Black women don't understand that you have a whole phase and it's a phase. And then from there, you operate like Coach K said, whereas you don't take a man serious unless he's taking you serious, but you don't entertain multiple men. You wait for a man to constantly court you and you entertain him. That's how you operate as a woman. So he's right when he's saying, oh, so you're going to be a hoe until you get a man. But that doesn't have anything with what she was saying right now. If he was going to say that, he should have said that earlier when she was talking about having a roster. Right now, she's talking about how she don't owe a man loyalty until that's her man. Right now, she's right. He's deflecting to save the white woman because she was losing that point.
Who said I'm single anybody? How am I being a hoe? What is the definition of a hoe? Please tell me.
Man. A definition of a hoe is a woman who says she's dating 12 to 15 guys at one time. Ladies, please throw the roster talk in the trash. But let's continue.
How do you expect a man to take you serious when you're also vetting multiple men?
So that makes me a hoe because my legs are closed.
It don't.
Cap. There's no way you talking to multiple men and you're not smashing at least one or two of them. Come on now. Come on, son. Who are you fooling, son? You're not going to be dating multiple men. Understand, guys, going back to what I said earlier. Dating as in you're going on more than one date, as in this person is basically in a rotation. How you keeping a grown-ass man in rotation without giving them no V-Box? It ain't happening, again, unless you're a virgin, which you're not.
Matter. Look, how men look at it. It doesn't matter if you're smashing or not.
Hold on, Logic. You're not going for that, are you?
No,
and he's right, because in our head, we know better. We know you're smashing them. So to say I'm not smashing them, no man's taking that serious. No man's taking that serious. Again, just like I said, just like the white men know, she getting her back blown out. She getting her back blown out. She hasn't even said anything, but she getting her back blown out too. They know that. Again, they're just not smart enough to not say it, which is all you can ask for, right? Unless you actually do run into a virgin or a woman with a low body count, it's just like, don't acknowledge being a hoe. You know, it's like the old girl phrase where girls be like, listen, man, if you're going to sleep around, just don't bring the bitch in my face. Don't let me know about it. That's what he's saying. That's the guy version. Listen, we know y'all out here getting y'all backs blown out, but don't be out here saying you got a goddamn roster. I mean, come on now. What is that? But let's continue.
What? Hold up. No, the last thing that she said, you're not going for that, are you?
I ain't going for it. I'm with it.
I just wanted to make sure that we was all on the same page.
Now, I want to say this too. Now, Anton is coming in, and Anton's playing Captain Save a White Woman too, because I agree if he's going to say you're not going for that. She's dating multiple men, but she's not letting none of them smash. But you're going for Pearl and Coach K telling you that they don't believe in dating multiple men. You're letting white women, the queen of thoughts in this country, really convince you that they're not dealing with multiple men. My only thing that I can think of when it comes to that is that these guys just don't like white women, so they don't know. It's no way in hell you've ever dealt with a white woman and you believe these two white women when they say they date one man at a time. That is a lie. That is a lie. You don't even have to date white women to smash them. You gotta understand. And that's not to say black women don't have one night stands, but I'm telling you guys the ratio. Again, just talk to white men, hang with white men. The ratio, I'm telling you. So for him to say, I know you ain't going to let that slide, but everybody let Pearl slide when she literally lied and said, oh, you know, I don't believe in dating multiple men at a time. Everyone let Coach K lie and say, come on now. Y'all didn't call neither one of these two women out on that shit, but now y'all about to get on B. Taylor ass. They must just be mad because she said roster.
I'm going to tag you in, Anton. Hold on. I'm going to just get this out. Because see, B. Taylor, if I'm with a chick that I might be interested in, and I know that she's dealing with multiple men at the same time.
Why would you know? Why would I let you know?
And that's even worse.
Did y'all peep what she just said? She said, why would I let y'all know? You already let us know. You let us know when you first said you had a roster, you goofy trick. What do you mean, how would you let us know? Now we done skipped too far forward. Oh, damn. She's talking about why would I let you know? You done already let us know. Let me go back. Let me see where I was at. I think I was at like the 1 hour and a little bit of change mark. How would you know?
You don't know what you're getting until that man takes you serious and start being.
Hang on.
Until then that's when you say, okay, I'm going to what you're.
Now I got to get back where I was at.
Don't you kind of see?
All right, here we go. I'm getting close.
You're going to be a hoe until you get a ring.
First of all, who said I'm seeing anybody? How am I being a hoe? What is the definition of a hoe? Please tell me.
So how do you expect a man to take you serious when you're also vetting multiple men?
So that makes me a hoe because my legs are closed.
It don't matter. Look, how men look at it.
I ain't go forward
it
fast enough.
It doesn't matter.
Hang on.
No, the last thing that she said, you're not going for that, are you?
I ain't going for it.
Okay, I'm back where I'm at.
I just wanted to make sure that we was all on the same page.
I'm going to tag you in, Anton. Hold on. I'm going to just get this out. Because see, B. Taylor, if I'm with a chick that I might be interested in, and I know that she's dealing with multiple men at the same time.
Why would you know? Why would I let you know?
And that's
that was my point. I got to go back to this. That's been my point since the beginning of the video. Why would you let us know that you have a roster? Why would you over here, Siobhan, let us know that you have a roster? Why would you over here, Curse for Life, let us know that you have a roster? You see what I mean when I say it's just goofy? Look at the white girl. She over here like, well, stupid. You already said it. That's why I said earlier, common sense as an answer, not just for yourself, but for the reputation of black women everywhere. Just lie and say you believe in dating one man at a time. God damn it. Bend the truth. As a matter of fact, they didn't even ask you if you, so it wouldn't even been a lie. They didn't even ask you if you were dating more than one woman. They said, do you believe women should? Just say no. It's the right answer. Just like I said, where if I was asked, now in this case, I actually believe in it, but even if I didn't, just to save men, I would give the right answer. If I was asked, do I believe high-value men should be able to cheat? My answer would be no. Because I know if I said anything else, I'm throwing them all under the bus. I'm making them all a target. I'm helping them all get divorced. I'm getting all their phones going through. You have to be smarter than that. See, now she's saying, well, how would you know? You just said it, stupid. We all know now. Any man who might have been planning on taking you serious knows you got a roster now. Knows you got a roster now in this corner and knows you got a roster now down here in this corner. That's been my point since the beginning. White women are trained not to let you know that. Despite getting their back blown out behind pool halls and all that other crazy stuff I told y'all they do, slurping you up in the parking lot, not once but twice, swallowing your seed. swallowing your seed in the parking lot the first time they meet you. They're not going to tell anyone that. You just told everyone that.
That's even worse, B. Teller.
Why?
Go ahead, Anton. You got it.
Hold on, Anton. I want to get back to Miss Pearl.
I was gonna go to her. That's what I was about to do.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, guys can kind of tell by how attached you get. I mean, that's what I've heard from guys. Is like they can kind of tell like how attached you get, and even
this is another lie. Pearl doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. You can't tell whether or not a girl's a hoe by how attached she gets. Let me tell you guys something. This is a gem. Somebody timestamped this for me too. Hoes get attached the fastest to you. And hoes will be the most submissive, nurturing, caring, friendly, everything you want up front. They'll cook you for you up front. They'll show you everything you want up front. Because hoes know that they're hoes, and a hoe wants you to lock in before you know she's a hoe. A woman who doesn't date that much, a woman who's like a virgin, or a woman who is kind of sheltered, or a woman who doesn't date that much actually would be more likely, honestly, more likely to not be passed around left and right. Because she's more reserved naturally. She looks at things different naturally. A hoe want to hurry up and get you to lock in before you find out she's a hoe. You'll have a woman doing all that, and then 6 months later, the hood rat will come out, or the trailer park Tracy, or the ratchet Rihanna, or the leftover low main. All that'll come out. Refried beans Henrietta, that'll come out later. Hoes always pretend to be good girls at first. This is what I told you guys before. A woman telling you who's not a virgin that she's not having sex until she's married is a hoe 9 out of 10 times. I repeat, is a hoe 9 out of 10 times. How do you know that, Alex? Because that's why she's holding out sex from you. That's why she's playing all these little games. Because she wants you to think that she has a higher value and higher standard for herself than she actually has. Pearl doesn't know what she's talking about, but let's continue.
even if he is dating other girls, like how many girls is he really dating? Like you can kind of tell how serious a guy takes you by how much time he gives you.
Right. This is also a lie. You can tell how much a man has going on in life by how much time he gives you, not how serious he is about you by how much time he gives you. Come and let you know right now, as a grown-ass man who runs multiple businesses, travels all over the damn place, has 1,000,001 things going on, still tries to make time for YouTube, I ain't talking to your ass every day. I'm going to check in with you. I'm going to make sure you're good. But I ain't talking to you every day. You ain't going to be sitting on the phone with me every night for 2-3 hours babbling about your day. Talking about that coworker who got on your nerves. How Starbucks gave you coffee. It was supposed to be iced, but it was hot. I don't want to hear that shit. So she doesn't know what she's talking about. You can tell how much a man cares about you by how he treats you, not how much time he spends with you. Because a man of elite means doesn't have a lot of time. You're not spending that much time with an NBA player. You're not spending that much time with an NFL player. You're not spending that much time with an actor. You're not spending that much time with a CEO. You're not spending that much time with an entrepreneur. The only man you're really spending time with is a man who doesn't have a lot of means. The higher a man climbs, the less time he got. Soon as he gets to 6 figures, you ain't got that much time. That's just me keeping it real. You want time, get you a brother make like 50, 60,000. You'll get all the time in the world. You can work his 8 hours, come home. That's your time. That's me and you time. Pearl does not know what the hell she's talking about.
So I've talked to a lot of guys that are I'll talk to guys like that have like had rotations or wherever, and I'm like, on average, how many are there really? And they're like 2, 3 at most. And it's like, okay, it's not like he's screwing the whole town.
Well, that's because the reason you see most guys have 2 or 3 at most, because 1, that's all they can afford. Like I said, men keep up rotations by their wallet, like women keep up their rotations by spreading their legs, okay? 2, okay? The reason you always see this guy only have like 2 or 3 women that he's keeping in a rotation is because he doesn't have the time, which goes back to what I said. See, women want time or money. So for a man to have a rotation deeper than 2 women, which I wouldn't go really much past 2 women anyway. I've already told you guys that, because you're wasting too much time on a V-Box at that point. You don't have enough time to entertain all those women, and it's a waste of money to be with all those women. You want variety, get you 2 women and call it a day. But the reason you're running into that is because the man either doesn't have time to entertain all these women, because women always want your time, or he doesn't have the money to entertain more than 2 or 3 women at one time. Now, that doesn't include the women who he just smashed and he let go, or the women who fell out of his rotation. These are just the women who he could keep around, who he could string along, I should say, basically. But that's the reason. Women don't have to deal with having money or time. All they got to do is give up a little bit of V-Box, which in 2022, none of y'all up here really have that much of a problem with, as none of you are virgins. But let's continue.
So I'm just saying, like, you'll see how serious he's taking you based on how much time he's giving you.
No, it's how he treats you, not time.
Not giving you the time, then it's like you cut it and move on.
Yeah, that's why you keep them in rotation so you can have somebody else.
No.
Not a.
See, now she's messing up again. No, that's not why you keep him in rotation. If he wasn't good enough to be number 1 draft pick, you're supposed to just cut him off, man. She doesn't get it. Good Lord.
Backup plan, not a backup plan. It's like,
baby, when your plan A keep failing you, you gonna understand where I'm coming from. But okay.
Yeah, but how is the guy that's
look, Logic was about to come in with that again, and Tom's like, hey man, shut up, let them have their convo.
How is the guy that's plan B supposed to feel? You know what I mean?
We don't know who plan B. We don't let nobody know your plan.
Yes, they do. Just like you know when you're a guy's plan B. Because like deep down, people
know how many women are married to men.
Women don't know when they're a guy's plan B. They just said that to you earlier, that they don't know when they're a guy's plan B. That's why they got rotations now. Women have no idea when they're a guy's plan B. And let me tell you something right now, ladies, especially if you're dealing with a man who makes $75,000 or above. Because he ain't even got to be a 6-figure dude. He just got to have expendable income, real expendable income. At $75K, you probably have that, especially if you're a bachelor. Really, at $50K, depending on where you live, you got that. But some women, they just want a nice date here and there, some chicken fried rice. You know what I mean? And they letting them spank that. They letting them tear it up. So if you think you know, you have no idea. Oh, you know when you're not really a guy's planet. No, you don't. No, you don't. Again, they all said. I've been in a situation where I didn't know it. Come on now. Pearl's being completely disingenuous here. Yeah, but you would know. No, you don't. Women get locked in emotionally. They don't know what the hell is going on. You can tell them anything. They can be like, okay. They don't know what's going on, man.
Are men's plan B?
Say that again.
I said, you know how many men married their plan B?
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily their plan B. I think it's the girl that was there at the right time. Like, I asked you guys.
Yeah, but most men have definitely said.
Nah, men aren't marrying their plan B. See, B. Taylor thinks that because she doesn't really understand men. I say all the time, and I've said it before on this channel, and most men will agree, the woman we end up marrying is probably not going to be the most attractive woman that we've ever dated, because most attractive women have a cardboard box full of nothing for a brain. They have no personality. They don't really want to do anything. They basically stand there and look pretty. You can show them off to your friends, but in terms of functionality, actual use, you can't get much out of them. So most dudes end up actually marrying a woman who's like a strong 7 or an 8, maybe even a 6. And because the women look at her and they look at his last girlfriend and they think stupidly, oh, you downgraded because she just doesn't look as good as the last girlfriend looked. When in reality, the man didn't downgrade at all. The man didn't downgrade, not even a little bit. What actually happened in reality, I done skipped forward again. What actually happened in reality is he left that woman to get with a woman who was more functional, who actually could cook, who actually could clean, who actually could follow direction, who actually wanted to be submissive. And women get the two mixed up. But let's get ready to wrap this up.
In 2022, it's the men you pick. 1 out of 3 men are either virgin.
Hang on. I done lost my spot.
These men in 2022 eat like. And in today's dating world,
hang on, where was I at?
Having sex, and I'm not saying that it's not women out here that's not doing that.
Just because he fucking you don't mean that he necessarily looking to marry you.
But that's assuming that women.
Oh my Lord! Now there's another commercial.
Which one do you think is?
Oh boy, yeah, we might be getting ready to cut this one off, guys, because it's starting to get on my nerves now.
Sex. And I'm not saying that it's not women out here that's not doing that. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm saying that it is smart to keep your legs closed. And in today's dating world in 2022, with these type of men, they may not be like you. they may not be like you. So therefore, these men in 2022, you need to expand your options, or you're going to be walking around heartbroken, not the men.
No, you don't need to expand your options. And I don't feel like trying to go back to my point, man, because like I said, I'm getting ready to wrap this video up because that's the second time that's happened. Now I'm completely lost as to where I was. But again, she keeps getting this part mixed up. Yeah, there's a lot of men in 2022 spinning reels, but if we're going to be honest, there's more women spinning wheels than there are men spinning reels. And at the end of the day, it's not that hard to find out if a man's locked in on you or not. If he thinks that you're potentially someone he wants to settle down with, he's going to treat you different from jumps. Starting with how much he's invested into your dates and how much he's actually talking to you on said dates. Heck, honestly, nowadays, if you get a date from a man at all, sometimes that says something. Now, sometimes it says nothing, but a lot of times it says something. Most men aren't just throwing money away because most men don't have it to just throw away like that. If a dude who makes $50,000 to take you on a date, you have to assume he has some kind of real interest in you.
That is not. Go ahead, Pearl.
It's not the men in 2022. It's the men you pick. 1 out of 3 men are either virgins or.
I don't pick them. They come to me.
Oh boy! Now she's using the talking points. 1 in 3 men are virgins. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So listen, 30% of men from 18 to 30 haven't had sex yet is what she's referencing to in that talking point. Basically, high school to, I believe it was 30, it might have been 25, 30% of men are virgins, okay? So let's just call a spade. To put that out there and be like, oh, well, it's not all men, it's just the men you're talking to. How many women really took a man's virginity? Stop it. The qualities that a woman are going to be attracted to, right? Masculinity, financial status, having a rock star body, okay? All these things are going to come with women. So the likelihood you're going to meet a man who's ultra masculine, going back to what I broke down about masculinity earlier, has his body right, and he's financially well off, and this man's a virgin is damn near impossible. Yeah, it exists, but to sit there and act like, oh, that's just the men you're choosing, as if Pearl's out here choosing those 30% virgins is bullshit. Because if Pearl was out here choosing those 30% virgins, they wouldn't be virgins. Those men who are 30% virgins, there's multiple reasons and layers as to why they might be a virgin. They could be socially awkward. They could have been sheltered. They could have a piece of shit body. They could be broke as all hell. We have nothing else. We just know 30% of men are virgins nowadays. And a lot of that does come down to women being able to call their own shots. But again, no woman's really checking for a man who's a virgin. No woman's really checking for a man that isn't liked by other women. Isn't that a popular song now? Women like men, other women like. That's just something we all just accept. So once again, Pearl's being disingenuous. She's throwing out random ass manosphere talking points that don't even fit in the scenario she's trying to fit them in. What the hell does the 30% of men who are virgins have to do with a conversation about dating multiple people and who you're dating? And sleeping around. Because right now they're talking about whether or not you're sleeping with the guys and all this other extra stuff. So 30% men are irrelevant in this conversation because obviously they're not dating around and they're not sleeping with anyone. But let's get ready to wrap this up like I said.
And there's
attraction. Hey, let me finish. You gotta let me finish.
You jumped in between a conversation.
Why y'all let
Okay.
One in 3 men.
Look, she's still trying to say that 1 in 3 men are a virgin thing. She's stuck on that talking point. See, that's why they don't want me on these panels, because they don't want me to say shit like what I just said. Well, I was like, really, that 30% man? What does that have to do with this conversation? That has nothing to do with the context of this conversation. Because again, none of the women are talking to them. That's why they're virgins. That's why their virginity is not something women hold in high regard. How do I know that? Because virgins deal with men who aren't virgins all the time. And they've never said, I don't want to deal with you because you're not a virgin. Whoo! Let that breathe. Run it back. That's a gem. I said, I know that because women deal with men who are not virgins all the time. And I ain't never heard a woman who was a virgin say, I'm not going to deal with you because I'm not a virgin. Virginity is something men hold on to and men elevate women because of. Women do not elevate men because of virginity.
1 in 3 men are either virgins or they haven't had sex in the past year. So there's a plethora of men that will be faithful to you and won't play these games. They're just not the men.
Just because a man's a virgin doesn't mean he'll be faithful either. Because once one woman like you, again, women like men, other women like. So that opens the door for other women to start liking him, which makes him want to cheat.
Want.
Women aren't going to be attracted to that in mass ever.
No,
Exactly. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you for keeping it real. It's the first time you spoke this whole video. Maybe I accidentally skipped above you, but thank you for keeping it real, Carmen. Holy shit. I can't believe she brought up virgins. What does that have to do with anything? She wanted to use that talking point bad as hell.
I understand that, but it's like you are what you attract. Like, so you can't generalize all of men.
You not are what you attract. You are what you.
I mean, I do agree with her that you are what you attract. But again, like Carmen said, women are interested in those men who are virgins. They're virgins for a reason. Let's stop acting like they're just virgins. They're virgins for a reason. Like Carmen said, they're virgins for a reason. Now, I'm sure some of them, it might be religious, but most of them, there's an internal flaw. It's deeper than what you're just saying. They're virgins for a reason. Like Carmen said, most women are attracted to them. Now, you are what you attract. That's true, but that's in terms of personality traits. Most women who are virgins are still not attracting other virgins because virgin men, again, tend to be overweight, socially awkward, not very high on the earning potential thing, not very high on the looks or, physicality standpoint or anything that women traditionally look for, hence why they're virgins.
Put up with it. Thank you. If you're beautiful, you attract all types of men.
But why would you? But wait.
I mean, that's true too.
Character is like a magnet.
I just got one question. Why would you want to attract all types of men when you only got to get it right once?
All right, that's a stupid question. Like, what do you mean? You can't control attracting all types of men. You just attract what you attract. Now, you only need to lock in on one type of man, but you're going to, as a woman, if you're a beautiful woman, you are going to attract all types of men. That's all right, you know what? This is a good point to cut it off right here because at this point, it seems like they just antagonizing B. Taylor because she's just not very bright. I think Anton's just antagonizing her because she's not very bright. Mr. Pearly just wants to he named himself Mr. Pearly. But anyway, he just wants to back up the white girl, gas up the white girl. So in summation, I broke all this down, why it is the way it is, and what this really means in the conversation. Does this conversation mean that white women are more feminine than black women, or white women have some secret magic potion that black women don't have? No. This conversation, as I stated, goes to show white women care more about their reputation and have more respect for their men than black women do with their men. We're coming from two different cultures. And the black culture, we've allowed it to devolve to the point where women feel like they could come out here and call dudes munches and talk about having rosters and rotations. Not all, but most, especially in pop culture, they feel like they can do this and men should still accept them irregardless of this because most black women are operating in an energy of bitterness because they didn't have a man to sit there and tell them about holding on to perseverance, about how you're all going to get played at one point and hold them. And instead of putting all this negativity about men to their ear saying, you need to take more time to vet. You need to listen to me when I tell you that guy's not no good, blah, blah, blah. Black women are coming in an energy of bitterness. Not all, but most of them. And that's why they're saying the stuff that they can say. And most of it is a little bit of an exaggeration. They think that is funny because, again, they think that it's socially acceptable to say these things. White women are always angling towards marriage. Therefore, they care about how they're perceived in the general public. They care about who's watching this and what the person may think about them. So they would never say out loud that they think they should be dealing with multiple men at a time, even though they're the biggest whores in America. And they do indeed deal with multiple men at a time. That's pretty much what this conversation comes down to. Even B. Taylor later admitted, well, how would you know I'm dealing with multiple men? Because you, like many other black women, you let you talk long enough, you're telling your goddamn selves. You literally told before you were asked that question that you were dating multiple men. So why would you then ask how would someone know you're dating multiple men? Because you're not smart enough to not say it. You talk too much and you don't think before you talk. So does this conversation ultimately make white women more submissive than black women? No, honestly, submission has nothing to do with this conversation. It means that white women are better at being chameleons than black women are, which is good on the front end, but can be bad on the back end. Because as I told you guys before, for the most part, you know what you're getting with a black woman. They're not smart enough to play pigeon, especially not for a long period of time. They're going to show you who they are. White women can play the role that they know men want all the way up until the point where they get that marriage because it's a social status in their community and it matters. Being married to a man of means and having a family matters to them. That's one of their above all things. In the black community, for black girls, being popular amongst black women and keeping up the sisterhood is more important than being married and having a family. In the white community, it's not. So white woman's going to do whatever she has to do and say whatever she has to say to make sure she looks good enough to men to get married. When she gets married, that's when the true her is going to come out. This is why they divorce so high. This is why they have so much alimony. This is why they put people alimony at such a high ratio. This is also why they kill their husbands higher than any other group of women. Because a lot of time white women don't even really love their husbands. They just got married because they wanted to say that they got the ring. So no, I don't think this conversation proves that white women are more submissive than black women, but I do think it shows that white men still command more respect in pop culture than black men do. And white women have enough sense to acquiesce to that respect that white men are expecting than black women do. Black women don't have enough sense to apparently not all of them, of course, but a lot of them don't have enough sense to hide their thought ways. They think that they can go out and say this stuff in public and still get a man, which again kind of falls back on black men for even cultivating an environment where they think that they can get away with that. That's what I got from this. Pearl didn't really dominate B. Taylor, honestly. She was just smarter than her. But they wanted it to look like the white woman came and beat up on a black woman, so that's the way they framed it. But that's not necessarily what happened here. The black women were just honest to a fault. And the white women were smart enough to lie. You can take that however you want, but that's essentially what happened here. Either way, I am Alex and I am out. Peace.